to his right, stops, loads it up, throws down deep in the middle of the field. Brad Smith's got it. Here we go. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Brad Smith, Denver, touchdown. Inside the 10, head first. He flies. Wanted that first down.
And I tell you what, if you want to tell me the 37-year-old man that's going to win this game.
The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. This time it's in the left stick. Got it right to the 30, to the 20, to the 10.
In the pocket is good. Ball knocked out of his hands. It bounces around. And I think Denver's got it. Von Miller again. Wilson fires. Caught. Touchdown. Sutton. His second of the game.
Well, hello, Broncos country. Thanks for bearing with us. We're a little bit late to the show. Man, I had some planning like the Broncos had. But anyway, good evenings, Broncos country. Welcome back for another fantastic show. Thanks for tuning in to the Denver Bronco Roundup here on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. We talk Broncos all the time here, so I am your host, welcoming everybody in. We got Jody, we've got Albert. Welcome in, gentlemen. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
These guys feel like we're on Groundhog's Day because we had a little mishap, and this is all kind of like we're redoing everything we just did just a few minutes ago. But thank you guys for joining us in late. Like I said, maybe I was in Hackett's coaching plan leading up to this show because I wasn't firing on all cylinders here. So, man, it's been a week, man. We'll do this all again, man. I'll be honest, I usually don't have a whole lot to talk about, but I started doing this like contrast showers, man, and I'm telling you what, it gives you energy. It's something else, man. Contrast showers, for anybody who doesn't know, it's like hot and then cold, always leaving on cold. It's supposed to be good for your immune system and everything else. I just been loving it, man. And Albert, you said you haven't done necessarily this, but where you came from, you did something very similar.
Yeah, we call it saunas, where you go into steam rooms and literally saunas, and then from the sauna you go into a bathtub that is the water is probably 5 degrees Celsius, so around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that.
There you go.
So yeah, you're very hot and then very cold, but it feels really good.
It does, man. It's really invigorating. We're going to talk Jody into jumping into the snowdrift a little bit later in the winter here. Get his hot and cold therapy on, jump out of the hot shower and then run out into the snowdrift. Says he hasn't done it, but Jody, you've had a busy week, buddy.
Just busy with work, and that takes up a lot of time, and debating these Broncos. Are we on board with Hackett or are we not?
Oh boy, man, gonna have to get into that for sure, man. Yeah. Jody's been busy, man. He's been obviously he's always on here. You can sometimes find him on Time to Ride, and then he's also picked up on the No Huddle. Catch that up. What time is that exactly on? I know it's Saturday morning. Do you have a time for me, Jody? I don't remember off the top of my head.
8 Mountain Time.
8 Mountain Time, man. Check it out. Get your college football action on there. Well, speaking of just kind of talking about other things, we should talk about one important thing, and that's our sponsor, Willow Seasonings and Blends. They're the sponsor for today's show. Check their product lineup out at willowseasonings.com. And get ready for my favorite barbecue, or get ready for the barbecue season, my favorite barbecue season, which is fall, guys. Kicks off on Thursday, man. It seems like summer ended really quick. Anyway, willowseasonings.com. Go over there, check it out. They can ship right out to you. Put a little spice into your life. It'll arrive right in your mailbox. Man, fall is here, man. I can't believe it, man. And by next time we play a football game, it'll be in the fall air for sure, man. Isn't that nuts, you guys?
It is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That white stuff will be on the ground before you know it.
Oh, boy, man. And hey, nothing better than a nice winter game in Mile High. I'll be looking forward to those as well. There's a lot to go over, man, on this game. I feel like it's almost a repeat of last week's show because it feels like we almost had a lot of repeats. I called it a wuggly, a win, but it was ugly. It's a wuggly for me, man. Let's start off just, probably the ugliest thing that we saw was some of the injuries that came out of this. We'll go to you, Jody. Jody, what was your first thoughts when you saw Jerry Jeudy go down early in the game?
When he landed, the way he kind of grasped at his shoulder, I thought it was a major shoulder injury. Luckily, we found out that it was just the way he landed on the football. X-rays came back negative on his ribs, and he's day-to-day, so I'm hopeful that he gets to play Saturday because Denver's going to need all hands on deck.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And then, for me, I didn't see it happen. I don't know if a lot of people saw it happen. All of a sudden, we had Patrick Surtain that disappeared off the field during a defensive series, and come to find out, injury as well, did not return to the game. Albert, what was your thoughts as you found out Patrick Surtain was out?
Yeah, and like you said, I had not a clue what had happened to him, so we did not even see a moment of it. So even there was not even a replay on it. So I was kind of flabbergasted because I didn't know what happened. So, and I thought, oh no, we cannot miss him for that long because he is one of those pillars in the back in the back. So.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into this game. I think from a defensive standpoint, we stood up pretty dang well. But, man, I'll be honest, this injury report just seems like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger by the day. If we want to go through all the injuries that we've kind of sustained, we've got Dulcich that's on the IR. We have Ojemudia that's on the IR. We have Justin Simmons that's on the IR. We've got Jerry Jeudy and Surtain that are now day-to-day. And we have Hamler, Jewell, Miners, and Billy Turner, all that weren't active for this last game. Didn't see any more further updates on those guys and how they're trending this week. Didn't see any press conference coverage from the Broncos today. Do you guys have anything, or what are your thoughts on these injuries that are just piling up?
And the biggest concern is a lot of the injuries that we have are similar. And I don't think it's no longer a coincidence anymore. Hamstrings, shoulders, last year 2 pecs in the same game. So how many ACLs have we had in the last 2-3 years? 4, 5?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think it is getting a little bit ridiculous to the point. But that's my thoughts behind it.
How about you, Jody? Do you think?
There's some guys on there that I'm not super worried about. I mean, excuse me, we knew Billy Turner was coming in off an injury, so we knew that was going to take some time. Michael Ojemudia, we knew that early in training, or when he got hurt in preseason. The big one for me is Pat Surtain. You're already down your all-pro safety for 4 weeks. I mean, that was a fluke injury. I mean, credit to him, he played through the rest of the game with that injury. It's just short-term IR, so hopefully back in 4 weeks. But with Ojemudia on IR and Surtain out, it really shows how lack the depth we have at cornerback. I mean, when you got a rookie, when Mathis and Ronald Darby are year 1 and 2, I mean, that's a little concerning.
Not opportune, and it doesn't give you a whole lot of room for depth behind those positions either, man. That's another scary thing about that, right?
It is.
Well, geez. For the second, like I said, for the second week in a row, we're going to be addressing a lot of the same topics. First thing I just want to talk about, and I know you won't mind sounding off, we'll hit you first, Jody. Play calling and time management, man. First, let's hit the play calling. What did you think about the play calling, whether it be the timeliness of it, or the run-pass mix, or the timeliness of the run and the pass? Go ahead, man. I'm going to give you the floor because I can sound off, but I know you can too.
I have not been on board with the play calling. I mean, we've been running the ball for 2 games just at will, and we don't run it at times when they should be running the ball. I mean, down in the red zone, this is what now 3-4 times, and we don't run the ball at all down there. Or when we do, it's confusion, and I mean, they've got to get this cleaned up quick. I mean, this is Vic Fangio 2.0 all over again. Of focused on one side of the ball, clock management. We don't get the plays in on time.
Yep.
It's like we don't have a script. Like Shanahan always prepped the first 15 plays. We don't. It's like we don't do any of that. It's like we want to throw the ball. Like we weren't. I mean, we did run the ball last week. I will give them that. But week one, we were not balanced at all.
Yeah.
When you're averaging close to 7 yards a carry, I mean, run the ball.
There you go. Well, I'm gonna bring in Albert now on this. I last time me and him were on a show, I called him Silver Lining Albert. So maybe he can make us feel a little bit better about this, Albert.
Yeah, from the press conference that I listened to, it was a misunderstanding in the communications. There were more than one way who were dealing with the calls, the play calls, and just didn't get organized good enough. I think that will change. At least from time management perspective, timeouts. They finally used the timeouts in places where they needed it. There was one that was almost a delay of game.
Yeah.
And then the one Montreal one, at least they used the timeouts there and did not waste them on kneel downs. I think that was already a big positive.
Yeah, it's small steps in the right direction. Obviously, we, I think in our comment board we even had someone say, "Man, it feels like middle school out there, man. How does your returner not get onto the field, man?" It's pretty frustrating. I mean, don't get me wrong, take the time out. You don't want to be back there without your punt returner, but at the same time, it's what led to those timeouts that were all obviously frustrating. I can't, like I said, I think in the Time to Ride post-game show, there wasn't one good timeout used in the second half at all, man. So I'll go off on a couple different things. One, A, yeah, we need to be running the ball, and then B, if I hear him go up to the line, Russell Wilson go up to the line and audible one more time into a running play where everybody knows it's a running play. He gets up there, cancel, and then it's always a running play. It's never been a passing play. And you always are looking for tendencies on defense. And if that's going to be the case, man, it's going to be a long season. He can't go up there and just audible out of every single passing play or whatever play it is and it always be a running play. It was just really frustrating to watch this offense get out there. By the way, I just went through the first half of Russell Wilson's passes. He was 1 for 1 when he came out of the gate with a 21-yarder. Next pass attempt, he became 2 for 4 with an 11-yarder. The next pass attempt, he was 3 for 9 with a 6-yarder. Again, not big chunks of yards either here. 4 for 11 for a 10-yarder. 5 for 14 with a 34-yarder, and 6 for 15 with an 11-yarder. Ended the half 6 for 17 overall. So just terrible. It just seemed like we kept forcing the run in the first half. Man, it was not what I was expecting at all. So
there are some. He had drop passes though. He had Albert O right in the hands, dropped a first down. The pass where Judy got hurt was a drop. He had drops all over. So even on his interception, Sutton dropped the ball.
Yeah, that was a lucky interception. I will 100% give you that. That interception was really not an interception either from Russell Wilson or even Cortland Sutton for that matter. That was a tough ball to go up, come down with, contend with 2 defenders right there and not get it stripped away like he did. I don't really put blame on anywhere on that one. Man, you guys are my silver lining guys because I'll be honest, I thought Jody was going to come in here and he was just going to be rip-roaring. I was going to have to mute him. I was going to have to, tell him it was a family-friendly show. I was going to have to tell him, play a little Guns N' Roses Patience song for him maybe a little bit. But, man, I'm surprised you guys are taking the positive side of things.
Here's a little bit a negative thing.
Okay.
The Broncos, the 2 games that the Broncos had, they didn't have luck on their side either. of all the forced fumbles, how many did we recover? 1. And that
Yeah.
was a Gregory move, but all the others went to the opposing teams. So if we had a little bit more luck in that area, then you would see different pictures, and especially with the one with the Cortland Sutton.
Yeah. Matt's in here trying to calm me down as well. He says, I think the simplicity of it is due to the lack of depth and familiarity with the scheme with the replacements. So I think he's trying to calm me down just a little bit, letting me know, hey, if we didn't have backups in there, if once we start getting rolling a little bit, maybe we see this kind of turn around. But again, just, for me, I was just shocked. After coming off of week 1, I thought we'd be forcing the run. It didn't seem like that was the case at all. And by the way, good evening, Danny. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. So
Now, there are some things that and this is Hackett, I don't like. I mean, we run the little option with Jerry Jeudy. I feel much better running the ball with your 2 running backs
right.
on 3rd and 1, and he has to dance around to try to get a first down. I don't like doing the option with your fullback, Andrew Beck. I mean, there's just some play calls that are just atrocious that I don't understand. When you're ripping off 5, 6, 7-yard plays, run the ball. We don't run the ball on first down.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, the plays are coming in late. When you're getting up to the line under 10 seconds, I mean, there's a communication thing there. And this goes back to when they first made this hire. First time head coach calling plays, first time OC who's never called plays. So if Hackett decides to stop calling plays or relinquish them, what do? Give it to Otten, who's never called plays before?
Yeah.
He's never been an OC before. So, I mean, they kind of put themselves in this pickle. What do? You aren't going to – or I wouldn't see letting the only guy on their team that's called plays, Clint Kubiak, call plays over your OC.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of people have even mentioned that, which is kind of funny, Well, kind of going on from jumping from the play calling to the time management. Once again, we kind of hit on it. Man, just terrible. I mean, if you're going to have, for the first time I've ever seen, I've watched a ton of football games. I'm not obviously the youngest guy on this panel today. First time I've ever heard 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as on at a football game. We're not talking about the basketball game as the clock's winding down at the end of the game. We are literally talking about a football game and the fans trying to interact, trying to help out our team because we can't get play calls in on time. We can't get to the line of scrimmage on time. We're getting delay of game penalties. We're taking
that was embarrassing.
We're taking points off the board. We nailed a field goal. We end up punting because we end up having a delay of game. I mean, it just amazes me. And before you jump in, Albert, I'll give you this. Hackett did come in on his press conference, and he did say, he goes, I need to be better. I need to be better prepared. We need to get answers quicker to me. We need to have communication quicker to me. I need to be demanding those answers quicker from me. I think what is happening, I think he's getting so wrapped up in the play that he just called and waiting to see how that's going to interact that he doesn't have punt team ready. He doesn't have the next play call ready. And now he's trying to take ideas, thoughts, opinions, trying to get it into then Russell. Then the next thing you know, there's like 12 seconds on the clock. They're trying to get out of the huddle. But it's a calamity of errors that it just should not happen on a professional NFL football team on Sunday.
Yeah, and I do think they have a play script ready. Remember the 64-yard field goal attempt in Seattle, and then they have a 59er in Denver, and they don't take it. So they punt it. I don't get it.
I do. He wasn't dare going to go back up to that podium again and say, why did you take a 59-yard field goal? How many guys have hit a 59-yard field goal? Now we'd have all those statistics hitting around. Jody, I mean,
I
time
don't
clock.
have
Time clock is just crazy, man. Let me hear it, man.
They don't have somebody that's been there and done that before. They've got one guy on this coaching staff that they need to empower a little bit more, and that's Dom Capers. I mean, he's been a head coach,
Yeah.
he's been at DC, he's done some things, he's been there. They need somebody that can say, this isn't working, this isn't working. It's no, even when like Russell threw that touchdown late in the game, I mean, you barely are taking the lead, and I mean, we're hugging and high-fiving like we just scored 100 points. I mean, there's nothing really to be happy about. You barely won this game.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, man. If you've looked at the way that Russell Wilson is that guy who's kind of that cheerleader, you look at Hackett, that's kind of that guy that's kind of that cheerleader. I think we're going to celebrate a 6-3 win. You know what I mean? Like we've won the Super Bowl sometimes, too. I think it's just going to be the culture of this team at the same time. So, but yeah. With all the errors that we have, man, it's not a place where you're like, jumping up and doing the first down, like you're really something, right? So
they've played two subpar teams so far, in my opinion, and they're about to meet up with a team that's well coached, been to the Super Bowl the last couple of years, or NFC title games. This is a totally different team now with Jimmy G in there. So, I mean, these kind of mistakes that Seattle and Houston couldn't capitalize on, San Francisco will.
And this is what I think that needs to happen too. If a play call doesn't come, Russell just needs to step up and create one. I think, and he needs to have that the freedom to do so. And then at 15 seconds left, okay, we have nothing yet. Let's do this, bomb, and do it.
That's what I don't understand is they shut the helmet off at 15 seconds, so it's like he's not getting a full play, and then he's trying to stand there and watch, and get like hand signals, or he's making something up, and I mean it's ridiculous. I mean
that is a good observation, Jody. I totally forgot about when they shut that off. Let's have 15 seconds, and I don't know how many times we saw in that game. It was right at about that 15-second mark when he's sitting there with hands over his ears waiting to try to get a play in, get it to me.
And what you don't think about is Russell only can hear. He can't communicate with Hackett, so he can only hear. He can't talk back. So, I mean, it's like if you got to stay after practice and talk in the helmet to each other, do it. I mean, you got to talk in a way he can understand the plays and he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And the play call should be simple. Maybe 3-4 words, and then the play is ready to be done. It should not be a complete storyline.
Yeah. Russ is always known for his methodical approach. I think he and Hackett need to really pump up the internal clocks. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this should be part of our practice routine, right? On going throughout the week, we should have some play clock scenarios, because honestly, even when I was at training camp, I remember times the defense was sitting there going, "Come on, man, you don't get this much time to be in the huddle. You don't get the," and they would be throwing up their hands, going, "Come on, guys, this. If this is real life, if we're pretending that this is a real game, these are really scenarios. You don't get 40-second huddles. It just doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? So maybe we'll still even see that kind of play out into the season, which is just crazy, man. It was months ago I was at training camp and seeing some of these things happen. So
what I'd like to see is I'd like to see him go up tempo and maybe run no huddle and get going, get instead of, I mean, we're snapping the ball with 1-2 seconds on the clock. I mean, their old line and stuff are just teeing off, especially when they know it's a pass.
Well, yeah. When you don't have to worry about the play clock, they got to. They're going to be snapping it because it's any second now. Yeah, that's a big advantage. You brought up something earlier, Jody, that I used to absolutely hate, but at least a small sample size, I think makes a lot of sense. Like you said, Kubiak, Shanahan always used to script up plays to start off the game. I don't agree with having the first 15 plays, and a lot of times I think that put us in a detriment just because of the way they were drawn up and the yard situations that we might have been in. But drawing up the first 5-6 plays heading into a game so that you're planned, you're ready, that you can go no huddle like you and Albert are talking about, that would be fantastic right off the bat, man. I would love to see that, man. It definitely needs to change from where we're at, and that pre-planning might be just what it comes down to that, kind of puts us over the top. So,
and see, I don't agree with the people that say Russ needs to get all after Hackett and stuff. Russ asked for this trade and all the things he's been through this offseason. He now, after 2 games, cannot blow up on Hackett because communication's not there. He asked for this, and so, I mean, he has to kind of – I mean, you can kind of see that he's playing the PR game. He may not like it, and deep down, you can tell he doesn't like it, but he can't let that show after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But he should have the freedom because they have a certain amount of plays for a game, and he should have the freedom if a play call doesn't come in on time that he can say, okay, let's do this one because this is one of the plays that we have for the game.
Yeah,
I'll agree with you. I'll agree with that, but I'm not going to – the thing that really frustrates me about having that type of conversation is you're basically saying when we're inept as a coaching staff,
right?
When we're capable, when we didn't do the planning, when we didn't do the preparation, when we weren't ready in the game for these scenarios, now you have to make up for it as a player. You know what I mean? And if that is your strategy, I'm sorry, that's frustrating to me. That should not be the case, especially as much as I've seen in the first 2 weeks. If that was scenario played out, I'm also willing to be calling the plays for like 70% of the game without the coaches getting it in. That can't be the plan. I understand it's the backup plan, but at the same time, it's frustrating to have to hear that kind of talk because it just seems it's so far from really truly being elite within this league. If it's the type of preparations you're taking. Let's put it that way.
I could see that in Seattle with the noise and stuff, but you were at home. You're on offense. The crowd is not loud. You're not losing the game. You're not in a rush. I mean, you were in the whole game, so there's no need to panic or anything. And it's like we're fumbling around trying to find a play. It's like throw a dart at the wall and we'll pick this play.
Yeah, no kidding.
And
he said he's trying to be too aggressive at times, and that's that. Like you say, Jerry Jeudy and back on sweeps and jet sweeps and inside options and stuff like that. Just trying to be way too fancy.
Find an identity.
Yeah, that very good point. Find an identity. Who are you? Just saw a whole thing on the NFL channel. He again came on talking about Tennessee Titans and how they've lost their identity. You know what I mean? They used to be that gritty team, and they can't do that so far this year. We don't have an identity necessarily, unless it's just a lot of options to our running backs. Maybe I'm sure. So,
but I don't think we are a 70-30 pass run game. I think it should be more equal. Because
with the stats that we're putting up, yeah, go ahead.
Because that is what the running backs do. They wear defense out, and that's where you can get points. And as long as you just keep throwing them, they just wait and sit there, and that's what they do. And
all right, we'll wrap. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
go ahead. Keep going.
No, that's my my point. It needs to be closer to 50-50, and then you will win games much easier.
Yeah, we talked about
One
this,
thing
man.
I will give him credit for is you could see in that game he rode Javonte Williams a lot more than he did in the Seattle game. I mean, he kind of picked one back and kind of rode him, so which I like.
Yeah, seemed like we were playing the hot hand a little bit more, and seemed like we were just a little bit more reliant on Javonte to be that guy rather than Gordon. Gordon seemed like he really was kind of more of a spell guy, in week 2 compared to split time guy like he was in week 1. I'll before we get into the second half, since we've been talking about this so much, I'm just going to get really quick, 1 to 10 rating. After we came off of week 1, we get done with week 2. I want you to give my 1 to 10 rating. We'll start with Albert on the play calling within this game.
I would say a 3.
3. Jody?
Yeah.
A 3. I'm the same way. It was not good.
Yeah, I was right there with you. 4 came to my mind right off the bat, so not a whole lot better. Man, just the things that we need to improve. Keep going in the same order, guys. Go ahead, man.
You know, one thing we overlooked
Yeah, go ahead.
in this first half that I really think maybe even a 2. You throw that fade to Sutton and you think you have a touchdown. And what do? You line up in the exact same play and you throw it again.
Oh.
I mean, you don't even try to nothing. It's like, I mean, run down there, run the ball.
Yeah.
We have not.
Thank you for bringing it up.
I have not seen one time just get physical and we're just going to hit you and we're going to run the ball and we're going to smash them. Javonte Williams runs hard, but I haven't seen the old line just go out and you're across from me and we're going to hit each other and may the best man win. I have not seen
And here's
finesse.
And here's the thing: Javonte does not have to run hard at the end zone. He can jump over the entire line. He can jump over the line, so it doesn't have to be hard running. So, yeah, I didn't get that one either, but I still stay with a 3.
I when you said that, when you mentioned that play, I said thank you so much for reminding me. And then as I was sitting here thinking about it, maybe thanks a lot for reminding me, Jody. Man, I was frustrated on that play, man. I was just like, literally, I saw him line up and I thought, okay, exact same formation. So we're going to do something completely different out of this formation. It was the talk training camp. Hey,
right.
we line up the exact same way and have so many plays we can run out of the exact same set. It's going to confuse defenses so much. No, we go the exact same place and give Stingley, if I remember right, a perfect opportunity to go up there and truly defend the ball because he just saw that play 2 seconds ago. Stupid. Like you said, Javonte handed off. Javonte, that right side that was stacked with the tight end in tight, the whole 9 yards. I think it was double tight end set on that side. Man, just get in there. Just pound it in. Frustrating first half. Just absolutely frustrating.
I would have been much happier to line up 4 times, and if you get stuffed 4 times, you get stuffed. But to try to get Q and all these trip plays, he's overthinking it.
Yep.
Confusion.
Yeah, 1 minute he's doing, like inside options to Beck. The next time he's running the exact same play twice in a row and giving offense some possibility. It just play calling was not up to par. So I think we might have hit that rating, I guess you could say. So
talking the run game though, one thing I noticed too, I mean, ever since Miners has went out, Glasgow is just not looking explosive.
Nope.
He's not pushing people back, and you can see a lot of the times that runs that might be right in that gap are getting bounced outside because Glasgow is not pushing people back.
And Cushenberry is suffering from it as well, because Cushenberry has to now be more aggressive and pick up maybe 2, and he can't do it. So,
yeah.
Now I don't think this is going to happen, but I wonder when Turner comes back, do they move him into that guard position? Do they look at that, or what are they? Because they got to do something. I mean, I think Graham Glasgow's an okay player, but either till Moody or Miners is back, do you start Moody? You got to do something there.
Man, you mentioned before, man, and I think it would be the most fantastic idea ever if we could if we could stick Turner in a guard someplace he's played for Broncos before. I think he would be just in such a fantastic position. The big thing with this, guys, and I've seen again with this wide zone scheme, it's never going to feel like we're just cranking it right downhill, and our guys are blowing guys, off their, on their heels and onto their backs. A lot of this, especially when it comes to those inside guards. Those guys would be pulling, and we're trying to get out a lot wider into the area. Maybe there's some cutback lanes within that where you go straight up the middle. Definitely not just a downhill run type of scheme.
Right.
You need that, obviously, like goal line situations like we were just talking about, but you also, for the majority of our run game, we really guys that can move and be able to pull and get out into position and pick up those blocks, and that's just something that we haven't been able to see a lot of times. I'll give you this: pass blocking has looked fairly decent. For everybody that's out there and wants to just jump in and maybe go in there and help us out with the scoring. This is what we're going to score just really quick: time management, preparation coming into the game, and communication. So time management, preparation, communication. We'll go and start with you, Albert. What do you think about the time management in this game after week 1 and week 2?
Time management, it's a 4. Last week was below a 4 because they handled it a little bit better than, like I said, they didn't use timeouts for kneel downs at the end where it was just simple stupid. And this time we did it for moments that we really needed it, even although it was an error on the management. But yeah, it was better than last time. That's what I have to.
So 3, but you said better than last time, right?
It was a 4 this time and less than a 4 the first game.
Last time. Okay. 4 this going into this one. How about you, Jody? How would you rate it?
I'm gonna rate it about a 1, maybe a 2. I mean,
okay.
Two more delay of game penalties. I seen a stat today. We had 2 delay of game penalties all last year. We already have 4 in 2 games.
Wow.
Or 5,
You're
whatever the
saying
number
5?
is.
Okay. Just keeps going up.
I mean, you get a delay a game that bumps you out of field goal range. Just unreal. Even down at the goal line again, can't get plays in. It's atrocious.
I'm going to be right there with Michelle. I'll say 3 in the time management. I'd love to give them higher. I probably should give them lower because I'm right there with Jody, man. I know that it was slightly better not taking kneel down timeouts, but goodness, if you're taking timeouts because you're taking points off the board and like I said, just wasted timeouts all the way. Thank goodness, if we would have been in a position where we needed timeout going down the stretch to win that game, we were done. It wasn't right. We didn't even have one. Those were blowing out so early on stupid things. Maybe I should downgrade to a 2. I'm sorry, Michelle. I'd like to maybe join you. But
and I'll throw one other thing.
Honestly, I can.
And you brought this up earlier. When you have your home crowd counting down the clock, so that you know how much. I mean, I've never heard that before ever. The home team counting down the clock, and that's time management right there. I mean, that's ridiculous.
100% agree. Hey, I got to give a shout out because we got a shout out coming towards us. Represent Albert is a legend. Got Chad Jansen in from Mile High Huddle. So thank you so much, Chad. I appreciate you joining the show. It's probably not for me. It's probably not for you, Jody, either. It sounds like he's an Albert fan. So, but no, thanks, man. I appreciate you joining in and the conversation as well. Man, getting love all place. Albert has been a great addition to our team. # legend, man. Holy cow, man. We're at to start bringing in chocolates or apples for the teacher or something like that, man, Jody. We're not getting nearly the love.
Maybe I shouldn't change my nickname to Mile High Legend.
Maybe. All right, Jody, we'll start with you. What did you think about the preparation heading in the 1 to 10?
Same, maybe a 2. I mean, they didn't look prepared. The minute Judy went down, receivers didn't. It's like, who's now the number 2? Who's the 3? Who's the 4? I mean, that's stuff that should be well thought out, well planned out. If this guy goes down, you're doing this, and no one knew.
How about you, Albert? Preparation heading into the game?
Well, preparation heading in the game, I think it is a 4. here's the thing. Patrick Surtain came out, and we didn't miss him.
Yeah.
Everything went pretty straight on. We kept him to minimum points, and Patrick was missing, and the defense was. I think it was the best part of the entire game Sunday. So yeah.
There you go, buddy.
And I'd like to piggyback off of that. My ratings are, I guess, solely on the offense because
Okay.
shout out to the defense. I mean, they played well. And like Albert said, when Surtain went out, Mathis came in, and you didn't really see any. I mean, I thought Mathis played decent.
Yep.
I mean, we still can't cover tight ends, but
we
I
still
thought
have our
we played
struggles.
pretty well. We got in 2 games, you've given up less than 300 yards both games. I mean, that's pretty.
And in
incredible.
2 games,
3 field goals last game. That's pretty good.
and in two games, only 1 touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
So
correct.
that is amazing.
Now Chad's
So
getting
I
all the
will
love.
give the DC. I'm not even going to try to butcher his name.
E.J. Evero.
He's been really prepared, and you can see that. I mean, they made adjustments going
Yep.
back to the first game from first half to second half, and he knew that you could tell right away that the defense was going to have to win this game, and they did.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is where I was going to give my score, and it's probably going to be a shock to people, at least I thought, because I was going to probably put a 6 on here, just because no Justin Simmons coming in, no Zuzi Jewell coming in, you lose Patrick Surtain, and like you guys said, this defense has not skipped a beat, didn't give up a touchdown this week, got even better in the second half once again, so I mean, when it comes to the preparation, fantastic preparation on the defensive side of the ball. I'd love to be able to give this team a 10, but it was the exact opposite on the other side of the ball, as Jody was even saying. Finally, you guys, communication. I'll just hit this. So, Jody, we'll start with you.
1. I mean,
Thank
him
you.
and Russell and Hackett have not been. I mean, plays getting in late. You got to use timeouts because our punt returner doesn't get on the field.
Yep.
It's just not there on the offense. And this is solely offense for me. I mean, props to the defense. I mean, with Simmons out, I thought Caden Stearns and P.J. Locke both played well.
Yep.
When Surtain went down, Mathis played well. I mean, they were prepared, and it showed.
Yep.
The offense, the exact opposite.
Yeah. Albert, I'll let you go, man. It seems like we're going down these ratings with all similar ideas.
Yeah. So on the offensive side, I would give it a 1 or a 2, and on defensive side, a 6 or a 7, because they had a miscommunication while celebrating too long, and that's why Montreal didn't come on the field. So that's what we had the timeout. So on defensive side, a 6, and offensive side, a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, and I'm splitting that right in the middle. Like I said, 5, just because we probably have a 0 and a 10, in my opinion, or a 1 and a 9, something along those lines, and the average is going to come out 10. So, again, just I guess the reason I wanted to do this, thanks for everybody who has been kind of chiming in and giving us your thoughts, but man, it is just a frustrating thing to be heading into week 3, and these are the type of issues that we're having. It seems like it's an issue. My biggest thing, and I've mentioned it a few times, I'm sorry, but I think the whole preseason plan that Dak has had is absolutely backfiring, and we're seeing it right here. We were not prepared. We didn't have enough time with the wins. We're seeing injuries that he didn't want to see in preseason, so that we were good for week 17. We're just starting to pile them up in week 1 and week 2 anyway. There's just been so much that, at least as a year 1 coach with a year 1 quarterback with a year 1 system, maybe it was foolish to think that we could go in there and light as much as we did, not play our guys in preseason, and expect to have a better outcome than we've seen in the first couple of games. It's like I said, it's frustrating to me, man.
Yeah, both have their benefits and then negatives. So yeah, now we are dealing with a lot of rust and miscommunications. If they had played, maybe we might have dealt with injuries or something like that. And I know it is the risk of the game, but during a preseason, I think it is a little bit too risky. So,
all right. I'm gonna just run through our final stats for this game. We'll head on to what we got coming up, and then get off so everyone can enjoy the evening. Russell Wilson ended up 14 for 31 for 219 yards, had one touchdown, and that interception that I don't know if we're going to necessarily put on him. His QBR rating overall was a 45.6 with a passer rating of 66.4. Melvin Gordon went 10-47, and Javonte went 15 for 75 on the ground. Guys, I don't know if you looked at these stats or you know these stats. Do you know who our second leading receiver was? Cortland Sutton had 7 for 122 yards. Hats off to him. He was one of the I think number 5 I think for his over 100 as far as number of games he's went over 100. But do you guys know who receiver number 2 was?
Williams?
Catches wise,
Nope.
I think Tyreek Cleveland had, I think, 2. There was a bunch of guys with 2. And I think Salbert had probably the second most yards with that one touchdown.
Yeah, catches, which is kind of what I was talking about. 2 catches for Tyreek Cleveland for 28 yards. Man, it just shows where the run game, or I mean the passing game was going. Eric Salbert did have 1 catch for 22 yards that was a touchdown, and then Hitton, Javonte, Judy, and Melvin all had 1 catch. Nobody else had another catch. That was the total. It was basically a Cortland Sutton or go home type of game. We were 0 for 2 in the red zone. Hey, I know this will be something that Jody will be happy about. He was talking about this guy all preseason. Wanted to see this guy step up. Draymond Jones came in with 2 sacks on this game, man. So got to be happy about that one, right?
I've been really happy with the front 3. I think Chubb's played well. I think Randy Greger's played well. He's only had 1 sack, but he's been getting a lot of pressures. So I've been happy with what we've been seeing there.
Just over the stats, week 1 we had 12 penalties for 106 yards. Week 2, I don't know if this is an improvement or not an improvement. We had 1 more penalty, 13 penalties, but we did only have 100 yards in this game in overall yardage. So, man, like I said, not a pretty game. To be honest, it was, as you guys have pointed out, Albert pointed out, it was a defensive game. Thank goodness the defense kept us in this game. You can tell just by the stats alone. It wasn't a huge game. We didn't go over 100 yards rushing combined. Obviously, Russell Wilson did not go out there and have a day. Man, it was all about the defense and timely scoring when we had. I shouldn't say when we had opportunities. I should say we had timely scoring on occasional opportunities that we had, I guess is the best way to put it. So
here's a good stat, though, talking about them penalties. Denver had 83 total penalties last year, 7th best in the NFL. This year they lead the NFL with 25 accepted penalties through 2 games, on pace for 212 penalties. I mean, that's totally unacceptable.
Wow, man. Talk about night. And there's just a lot of things.
No, that's
obviously.
accepted penalties. There's that's the thing in their accepted penalties. They had more penalties that were declined.
Yeah. And to be honest, even from a yardage standpoint and opportunities to get into the end zone, I will give you this. Russ did get a few pass interference calls, something that we always talked about in years past of just get the ball up there, get the pass interference call. He did get a few of those. At least that helped out in our quest to win this game. So, I gotta give a shout out to Sis because he's jumping in over from the K&K show. Check him out, East Coast Sports Guys. They have tons and tons of shows. I always jump in on their Wednesday show because it's a lot of NFL football, things that I like. Hey, thanks for joining us, Sis. And he's saying, kind of like we said earlier in the chat, guys, he's letting Russ call his own plays. I know Sis from a little bit of chat in the background is not too happy about what Hackett's been doing in the first couple weeks. But hey, guys, we turned the page on this ugly. Put our win in the column. What we're tied for second. We're 1 game out of first in the AFC West. We got the Kansas leading the way. We're tied with the Chargers, and Raiders found a way to blow a game in week 2 and go to 0-2 overall. So on we move. Hey, this is going to be a fun game because I think we're actually going to, as Albert's been legend, he's going to be actually tuning in as part of the game. We have a Sunday night football game here in Mile High against the 49ers. First thing that we obviously should talk about is out goes Trey Lance, in comes Jimmy G. Jody, I'll let you, I know that you've we talked about the 49ers in years or in the past. Is this an advantage, disadvantage? How do you see this now as Jimmy G comes in place of Trey Lance? Does it give him a better chance to win against the Broncos heading into Mile High?
I don't think so. And the betting line showed that they were a home 3-point favorite. Now they're a 2-point underdog.
Okay.
Jimmy G's led this team to a Super Bowl, to NFC title games. He is probably not a top 10 quarterback, but he knows how to win. And just look at Kyle Shanahan's record with Jimmy G as a starter and with Jimmy G not starting. I mean, that says everything right there. He's going to put the ball where – I mean, he'll make some boneheaded plays, but he will put the ball where it needs to be, and he'll run this offense efficiently. And, I mean, this is a game that Denver better pack it, especially better figure it out, or, I mean, bad things could happen.
Yeah. So maybe you misunderstood my question, but you're saying they absolutely have a better chance with Jimmy G versus Trey Lance heading into this game.
No, they have not as good a chance. This is really? Not what Denver wanted.
This is not what Denver wanted. There's a better chance of the 49ers winning, correct? There's a better chance of the 49ers. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Okay.
Today, San Francisco is a better team with Jimmy G than they are with Trey Lance.
Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, I guess I should have phrased my question a little bit better. I was like, what, really? You're thinking I get you, man. I get you. How about you, Albert? What are your thoughts on this? Are you in agreement?
Yeah, I would rather have Trey Lance in there as well. You get more boneheaded plays. Jimmy G is a great game manager. He knows how to deal with opposing teams. He has been in the field for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, so he knows how to deal with pressure. And Trey Lance, you might expect boneheaded decisions and interceptions and that kind of stuff. The only thing that is benefit Jimmy G is not really a rusher, a passer of a running back. So, and with Trey Lance, you would have more a triple threat instead of a double threat.
One thing that really worries me about this game is San Francisco can run the football, and they run it from multiple formations, and that is one thing that really scares me. Denver better be ready for the run.
But are they not missing some of their first and the second running back due to injury?
They are, but they still have Deebo Samuel, who plays wide receiver and running back. They just signed Marlon Mack today. I seen the reports are going to be on the active 53. So I'm not worried about who's going to be back there. So
yeah, just to give you an idea. Obviously, San Francisco played Seattle, which of all things we just got done playing, ended up beating them 27-7. So certainly handed it to them a lot better than we did. Jimmy G was 13 of 21 once he came in, which was pretty early, 154 yards, a touchdown, and he rushed for a touchdown as well. Jeff Wilson Jr. was their leading running back, 18 for 84. Tyrion Davis-Price was 14 for 33. Deebo went for 53. Let me read that again. Deebo Samuel went 4 rushes for 53 yards, something we need to pay attention to. Kyle Juszczyk put 2 carries for 1 yard, but put in a TD as well. Pretty limited as far as his selection of receivers that he went after, too. Ayuk had 5 for 63, Deebo 5 for 4, and then the touchdown, Ross Dwelly, I'm not sure, 1 for 38 and a touchdown. So those guys, I didn't go back, I didn't rewatch doing this all off of stats, but man, obviously running as you have, three guys that have went, either multiple carries or over 50 yards in this game, and then throwing the fullback in as well. Worried about this at all, man? Do we need to be worried about this game?
One thing we know for sure that Russell has a really good stats against the Niners. What is he, 17-4? So he knows how to deal with the Niners, and if we can get the team aligned, I think we should be okay. But it's going to be a defensive game. That's what it is. Definitely, is going to be.
I agree. It's just as saying Jimmy's a polished pro, something that we'll have to be worried about. A lot of people are saying that, maybe this is the best thing for the 49ers this year. I know they want to move on, but maybe Trey Lance is just a little bit too young. Jimmy, if you want to make a run this year, your best option. Also saying the D needs to step up. J.C. Weaver jumping in. 49ers will be tough. We better see a better prime time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're getting our full fill of prime time. I'll give it back to you, Jody, man. We've been talking for a little bit. Your thoughts on all those stats and what it looks like and what our chances are, heading into Sunday.
One guy I'll be interested to see if he plays is their tight end. And his name's escaping me. He's been out.
Kittle. George Kittle, yeah.
He was close last week. It was a game time decision. Does he play this week? I mean, he's a big part of that offense. So that's one thing. But San Francisco doesn't make mistakes. I mean, you can put 27 up and only throw for 154 yards. I mean, they are efficient with what they do, and they're well coached. That is one thing.
Yeah.
Win or lose this game, I just want to see a well coached game. I want to see smart decisions, and if you lose because that team's better, so be it. But I don't want to see us losing because of self-inflicted wounds.
Don't want to see us losing because of all those low ratings we gave earlier on some of the preparation, time management, play calling, stuff like that, right?
Exactly.
I'll just jump in here really quick. The one thing that I will say, man, I know that we're focusing a lot on the offensive side of the ball and what they're doing, Jimmy G and the running game and the whole 9 yards. Rashad Penny, 6 for 15 yards. Kenneth Walker, the third, 4 for 10 and an interception. So, they're doing a little bit of razzle-dazzle themselves. Geno Smith was 24 for 30, so he was able to get the ball out of his hand, but only threw for 197 yards, 1 TD, 0 interceptions. Not looking at the tape, but their top two running backs go for 25 yards on, well, I guess it was only 10 carries. Is it a concern? Do you guys know? Is this a defense that we're going to be going right at the teeth with Javonte and Gordon as well?
I think so. They have great linebackers. That's one thing that they have. They have probably, in my opinion, best trio of linebackers. And you will see that. They flow the ball well, they cover, and they wrap up and make good tackles. That's where it all starts for me with their defenses, their linebackers.
Yeah. Albert, their defense, are we running right into the teeth of the defense if we're trying to go in there with Javonte and Gordon?
Yeah, we have to play the same game that they do. We have to run, because their secondary, like Jody says, the secondary, they are tough as well. So, yeah. And
you've been talking, man.
Place.
And you've been talking about, running that defense down and flipping the script in that regard. There's something to be said for that. We have not played that game yet. We haven't just ran the ball and got a defense tired, got them on their heels, like what you guys were talking about. A little bit of up tempo and focus on the running game could completely flip the script on this game.
And therein lies the strategy too. If your offense is on the field for a much longer time, you run their defense wary. And what happen to our defense? They stay fresher. So there's a tactic to it, and you only can achieve that with running. If you have big plays, if you're in free plays, you go to the end goal, guess what? Your defense is on the line again. And how long are they going to be on there?
Yep. I just need to see it. They're talking about running all these plays out of the exact same set. They just need to be focusing more on the run side. It doesn't make any. It doesn't make any difference if you can do all these amazing passing plays out of this set if you never also run out of some of these sets as well and run on first down. So,
Yep.
unless you have any final thoughts on what this game will look like, let's just hit a couple of score predictions and then we can wrap it up here, boys. Albert, why don't we start off with you? You're going to be at the game, buddy. You're going to be marching in those stands. You're going to be screaming at the top of your lungs and bringing us hopefully to a win. But what do you think the score is going to look like when you walk out of Mile High Sunday night?
Well, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, probably a 20-17, and I'm going to call it for the Broncos.
All right. How about you, Jody? Man, you got an idea of what this is going to look like?
Yeah, I have a couple things. I think one thing that's going to help this defense a little bit more, I think Josie Jewell is going to play this Sunday. They need that. They need that. That's their play caller. He's the green dot. With Simmons out, he's the leader of that defense. And I think that's going to be big. I also think PS2 is going to play. They didn't go out and do anything at the cornerback position, which leads me to believe that these injuries are not as bad as you would think. I mean, I think that those are two big things right there.
Okay.
And then one thing I just want to see. I'm not so much after the final score. I would love to see Denver win, but I want to see a clean game. I want to see clock management. I want to see a well-called game. But I agree with Albert. I think it's going to be a low-scoring physical game and somewhere in the 20, 24, 17 range, somewhere in there, and I'm going to go for Denver.
Okay. Yeah. Matt's coming in. Man, he says the Broncos turn on the Jets. The Broncos win 35-21. Man, that would be a breakout for this. Yeah, that would be a breakout for this offense and really feel like we're starting to click on all cylinders would be my guess in that scenario. So I love the enthusiasm, Matt. Anybody else who wants to give us a little score prediction as we're rounding out the show, feel free to jump on in. I'm right there with you guys, man. I think this is going to be a defensive battle. We're going to have to really be tight on some of the most impressive targets that you could have on the 49ers side of the ball. Deebo Samuel is no joke. Brandon Ayuk is no joke. Go ahead.
And Kittle is no joke.
Yeah, and Kittle gets in there and he's able to play. A little bit of a liability in the blocking game, so that's not going to help him from a run perspective, but from a passing perspective, you put him on the field as well. And it's no joke. And to see what these guys did with backup running backs on top of it, we better be prepared on defense. The one thing I will say is I haven't seen a week where we haven't been prepared coming in, and we've only gotten better in the second half. So, hey, that's a key for us. I think that's going to have to be what we rely on. Offensively, we spoke about it all night. Everything has to be better, from the preparation to the play calling to the time management. If we go in there and we have a good game plan, we execute a good game plan, we can be competitive in this game. Man, I don't know if I'm going to – I'll put it this way. It's going to be a coin flip on this score. And maybe I'll see how this week plays out. It's an 18-20 score, and I'm not sure which way it's going to go at this point, guys. It's going to be that close. It's going to be that big of a battle. I want to say the Broncos right now. I'll reserve my right to change my mind as the week goes on, but I'll go with the Broncos. I'll be the homer for right now. I'll say 15. The Broncos get it done, but man, it's going to be a rough game. It could be one of those games where it's a special teams, defensive score, something like that really turns this game. It'll be nice. We'll be, rocking, and it'll be in Mile High. It'll be us putting up those scores and on the W. Not a Wuggly, a true W on Sunday night.
Yep.
Well, Jody, I heard you jump in with your microphone. You want to give us any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I'll piggyback off what you said. I'm going to be interested to see what Denver does this week. Does Judy practice at all? Who is the new 2 if he doesn't, 2 and 3? What they do there, and what they do at right tackle and guard, the right side of the line. Do they make the move to Moody, to his turn rate? That's going to be 2 big things for me.
Yeah, absolutely. A good point. Albert, anything before we leave?
Yeah, if Jewel comes back in and PST plays in the defense, I think we are really good there, because just those 2 make a really big difference. And then who knows, maybe Minus might be back. And if that would be the case, I think we have a better offense too. So the entire front line will be much better if Minus is in there.
Agreed.
You know, on a
let's hope
side
for-
note, did you guys notice K1 Williams? The hand injury must be a little more severe than I thought. I mean, he had a pretty big cast on this weekend.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. I didn't look at. I didn't.
Something that I noticed right away that was almost just bat balls down. I don't know how he's going to catch with that thing. I mean, it was pretty big. It was a club for sure.
I didn't even notice the cast. I had my eyes on so many of the game. I guess I missed K1 Williams and his super cast out there on his hands. So, that's interesting, man. I thought it was supposed to be a minor injury. I'm just glad I guess he's back on the field. I think he's a key piece to this defense and how it has success, especially in the pass defensive game. So, all right. Well, unless you guys have anything else, I think we'll be wrapping up the show. Make sure to catch us, of course, every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Make sure to check out the Time to Ride. It's our pre- and post-game show on the Rocky Mountain Network. Right now, I'm doing a little bit of hosting there as well, and that will be transitioning to some other people and faces along the way. Always make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. We're on all the different social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can always catch me on at Keith Brugman on just about any platform, or at the Denver Bronco Roundup. Join our group. We got so much going on more about the Rocky Mountain Sports Network than just this show. So keeping you up to date on everything. As always, we appreciate all our viewers and all our commenters. A big thank you to Willow Seasonings and Blends. And I guess from all of us to all of you, until we see you from the Rocky Mountain Sports Network on Sunday morning, we're going to get out of here. Have a great night, everybody.